Well, folks, the days are growing shorter. Thanksgiving is in the rearview mirror. Holiday season is in full swing. And, my friends, something else that's very much in full swing already, college basketball season. And tonight, as we get set to kick off conference play right here in Marcus Pavilion, in about 12 minutes, we are also suddenly looking at, although it was certainly unanticipated, one of the most surprisingly intriguing matchups to open the league docket tonight. Well, good evening, everybody, and thank you for tuning in on a brisk Thursday evening for the second game of a St. Martin's basketball doubleheader. Alongside Saints Director of Athletic Communications, Austin Burns, I'm Jeff Lucero. Happy to be here with you for the live broadcast on the St. Martin's Digital Network here tonight. Our second game of the night is a wonderful way to settle into the meat of the college basketball season, a league-opening men's basketball showdown between two of the GNAC's better teams so far, the Saints and the Alaska Anchorage Seawolves. We'd also like to welcome in any Seawolves fans tuning in here tonight. It's very nice to have you along for the broadcast as well. We'll talk matchups in a bit, but first, let's chat about the home team. And, well, for the Saints, they come into tonight's game feeling pretty good about themselves, having raced out to a very impressive 4-2 start to their season. Saints opened up the year by splitting a pair of games in California, knocking off Holy Names in their opener before coming up short at nationally ranked Cal State San Marcos, where, by the way, former Saints assistant coach Adam Ellis, who now serves in the same capacity. They returned to campus for their home opener and tuned up Warner Pacific with some sizzling shooting before embarking on a 3-game roadie back to Cali, where they sandwiched a pair of wins around a loss to Academy of Art. And hey, that loss is nothing to sneeze at. Academy of Art just put it on Division I UC Davis on Sunday, absolutely leveling the Aggies by 19 points. But back to the Saints. They opened their second California Odyssey with a nice win over Cal State East Bay, then bounced back from the Art U loss by taking down Cal State Monterey Bay. That win, perhaps their most impressive, because it came in their third game in just 4 days. It's a small sample size for the Saints so far, but hey, the early returns are more than just a little promising. They played 5 of their first 6 games in another state down the coast and came away from those 2 excursions into hostile territory with 3 big wins against solid opponents. And their 2 losses, those came against one team that's now ranked 22nd in the nation and 3rd in the West region. The other coming against a team that just completely smoked a D1 opponent. Leading the charge for the Saints, well, unless you've been paying close attention, the names will likely surprise you. Sure, the Saints are getting tremendous contributions from some of the veterans that have been around this program for a while, but it's a handful of this year's newcomers to the Saints program that have really stepped in very quickly. And they're not just stepping in, they've stepped up in a big, big way. 4 of the 5 Saints leading scorers through their first 6 games are all dudes who are brand new to the squad this year. Jaden Nielsen-Skinner, Christian Hafter, Kyle Greeley, and perhaps most notably, Brett Reed, who's basically just an offensive wrecking ball. He leads the team in both scoring and rebounding, even though he's just 5th on the team in minutes per game. And he basically doesn't miss shots. He's currently 3rd in the GNAC in field goal percentage, but the 2 guys ahead of him have attempted just 5 more shots combined than Brett Reed has made all by himself. Again, they've attempted a combined 49 shots from the floor between them. Meanwhile, Brett Reed has made 44 shots. Let's now welcome in Austin Burns to the broadcast. And Austin, before the season began, you and I had a hunch that this team was more than capable of sneaking out to this type of a start and rising up early on in the season and, you know what, just making some noise. But I don't know if we quite envisioned this level of success. You just plain love to see it, don't you?
Oh, absolutely. And I hope you like offense, because the Saints, they're going to put points up on the board. Last time they were here on this court, 99 points against Warner Pacific, who's a very good squad out of the NAIA. But for St. Martin's, you talked about all of the incoming talent, and they've gelled so well with the returners. Sometimes you have, players who come in and start taking over more of the minutes and the shots, and it might create some friction. Not with this team. These guys came here. They've known each other growing up playing basketball through the AAU. Even before that, they knew what they wanted to do when they came here to St. Martin's, and that was get W's. And head coach Aaron Landon talked about it in a meeting we had. He said these guys, they care about one thing. It's about winning. They don't care who gets the points. They don't care who has to do what. They want to win, and you're really seeing that early. You have an all-conference big in Marky Adams, and he's been coming off the bench because Brett Reed, who was one of the best players at Chaminade a couple years ago, out of the Houston area, Brett Reed has been right now the best player in the GNAC probably. Yep. And so, you know, St. Martin's has done a great job. Aaron Landon and his staff have done a wonderful job being able to bring in talent that is going to work together. And this team, they are clicking, but I don't think they're clicking on all cylinders yet. I think this team still has a way to go defensively, and their offense, as good as it is, the best in the GNAC, it can get better, and that's scary.
I'm gonna echo some of your sentiments, Austin. You brought up a couple of things that I wanted to sort of add on. It's the way they're getting it done. It might just be the most impressive thing about this 4-2 start to the Saints season. If you scan through the team stats on the GNAC website, the Saints don't lead the league in a single team category. Their top spot among league leaders is points scored per game, where they sit just second behind Western Washington at just under 80 points per game. So far they're not really doing any one thing that just jumps right out at you. But here's the thing. The new guys, as you mentioned, have stepped into their roles and bought into Saints head coach Aaron Landon's system very quickly. And you mentioned this as well. Not only that, but the familiar faces, the veteran guys on this team have learned to adapt and adjust their games just enough, all for that common goal that you just mentioned of winning basketball games. Austin, don't look now, but given how well this team is gelling already, a word you just used a second ago, coupled with the weird starts that some of the other teams in the GNAC have gotten off to so far, this team seems poised to make a whole lot more noise. It's way too early to tell. But you know what? Let's get bold. Let's get brazen. I'm calling it right now. The Saints will be one of the 6 teams playing in the GNAC tournament right here in Marcus Pavilion come March.
Oh, I would not surprise me one bit. I mean, for the GNAC, on the women's side, it's loaded. There is a lot of talent. But on the men's side, Seattle Pacific is generally considered that best team. They were unanimous. They've played a really hard non-conference schedule. But after that, it's kind of wild, wild west. And St. Martin's right now has already positioned themselves to be one of those 6 teams in the early goings. They look like a conference tournament team.
Yeah.
And so, you know, but again, that's non-conference. You're 0-0 right now in conference. It begins tonight, the road to Lacey. Well, I mean, you're already here, but, you know, the road to Lacey. So, you know, exactly what you're saying, Jeff. St. Martin's, you know Aaron Landon wants to be on this court come March.
It's almost as though they're paving their way to the pavilion.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
Well, with time winding down, let's go ahead and just roll right into our preview of our opponent for tonight. And, of course, this Seawolves team is off to a nice little start of their own. They come into tonight's GNAC opener with an overall record of 5-2. Between Hunter Sweet, Tobin Karlberg, and Augie Panovich, the Seawolves have perhaps the league's finest 3-headed offensive hydra. You'll find all 3 of those dudes' names among the GNAC's top 15 scorers. Hunter Sweet, well, he's new to this Seawolves program, but he's far from new to the rigors of the GNAC schedule. The 6'4 senior transferred to Anchorage from Concordia after the Portland campus shuttered its doors 2 years ago, and he's wasted no time at all getting settled. He's the team's leading scorer at right around 18 points per game to go with close to 7 boards per game. Now, this isn't a very deep team at all, at least not so far. Seawolves head coach Rusty Osborne really only goes about 6 deep. Outside of his starters, only Caleb Larson has played meaningful minutes, among his healthy players anyway, so far this season. Overall, the Seawolves are averaging just under 79 points per game, and this is a solid shooting team. They're averaging 46% from the floor, a very respectable number to be sure, 37% from 3, and about 70% at the foul line. So, Austin, just because this team isn't deep doesn't mean they don't have the dudes. On the contrary, it basically tells you that they have one of the best starting 5s in the entire league. They have an utterly elite point guard in David Rollins, one of the league's best bigs in Augie Panovich, a stone-cold assassin from deep in Caleb Larson. And that list doesn't even include their top 2 scorers, Hunter Sweet and Tobin Karlberg, who between them average 35 points per game.
Yeah, when Concordia had to unfortunately close its doors, Hunter Sweet became the biggest free agent on the market in the GNAC. And it was Alaska Anchorage who won those sweepstakes. And you see right now the immediate impact he can have. He played at a high level for the Cavaliers, and he's playing at an even higher level here. He has a lot of great pieces around him. Augie Pantovic, I mean, I am excited to watch the battle between him, Brett Reed, Marky Adams. That's going to be something to watch down low all night. Those are two of the best bigs, three of the best bigs, I should say, in the country. And this game, it's going to be a slugfest. And I think Alaska Anchorage, they play really good defensively. Will you be able to keep the Saints in check here? That's a tough order, but they have the offense to keep pace with St. Martin's. There's no denying that.
Speaking of Augie Pantovic, this is kind of an interesting thing. Now, their paths didn't cross at Utah State Eastern, but there's a couple of players on this Alaska Anchorage team that both played there. Wojciech Rucek and Augie Pantovic both played at Utah State Eastern. Well, guess what? The Saints also have two players on their squad that played there as well. Both Christian Hafner and Velcheko Illich made their way to St. Martin's by way of Utah State Eastern as well. We're going to take a quick break, step away for just a moment to catch our breaths. When we come back, we will set the stage with some starting lineups and a few last-second thoughts before tip-off between the Seawolves and the Saints. This has been the St. Martin's Basketball pregame show on the Saints Digital Network.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Lakeview, Washington. And inside Market Pavilion to the Twin Star Court for tonight's GNAC men's basketball game between the Seawolves of Alaska Anchorage and your Saints at St. Martin's University. Ladies and gentlemen, we ask that you please rise as we recognize a moment of silence. Earlier this week, the Seawolves community lost a dear friend and leader, Greg Myford. Greg's optimism and positivity never wavered, even as he battled cancer. On behalf of the entire SMU community, we would like to extend our deepest condolences to Greg's family, friends, and loved ones. In honor of Greg's memory, we ask you please recognize this moment of silence. Okay, we did the national anthem in the first game, so let's go ahead and meet the starters for the Alaska Anchorage men's basketball team. A 6'2" from Dayton, Ohio, number 1, David Rowland.
And welcome back inside Marcus Pavilion as the lights go down. Let's quickly bring you some starting lineups before we get started. First for Alaska Anchorage in the backcourt. That elite point guard we were talking about a moment ago. Number 1, David Rowlands. He's a 6-foot senior from Dayton, Ohio. Joining him in the backcourt, number 13, Tobin Karlberg, one of the 2 transfers from Concordia. He's a 6-foot junior. Number 21, Keegan Crosby, also in the backcourt, coming off a 15-rebound performance. He's a 6'6" junior from Seattle. Up front for Anchorage, number 30, Hunter Sweet, a 6'4" senior from Beaverton, Oregon. And rounding out the starting 5, number 35, Augie Pantovic, the 6'7" senior from Serbia. Head coach Rusty Osborne is in his 17th season at the helm for Alaska Anchorage. For the Saints, backcourt looks like this. Number 0, Alex Schumacher, the 6'3" sophomore from Vancouver. Joined back there by number 5, Kyle Greeley, the 6'5" sophomore. Also he's from Salem and is a transfer from Portland State. Alongside another starter, number 11, Jaden Nielsen Skinner. Hometown Salem, also a Portland State transfer. Tyke Thompson, kind of a stretch floor, I suppose, for the Saints. He's inside out, 6'7", redshirt sophomore from Salem, and a good buddy of Kyle Greeley and Jaden Nielsen-Skinner. Rounding out their starting five, it's up front, the big man making a name for himself very quickly for this St. Martin's team and program. The 6'8" senior, Brett Reed, number 24 from Houston, came to St. Martin's by way of Chaminade University. Well, the Saints in white, Alaska Anchorage in gold. Austin, what do you expect to see in the game's opening moments?
I think we're going to see some fast-paced action. The bigs are going to battle to establish dominance, and for the Saints, it's great to have Nielsen-Skinner back in the lineup starting. He is a difference maker to me. He's the MVP of this team, and we are underway.
Brett Reed secures the tip. We are moving it Saints right to left on your radio dial. Schumacher with his first touch. Skips around the top of the key. He'll fire from three. That one a little bit too strong. Panovich, his first rebound beneath the basket for the Seawolves.
I think the Saints are also going to go aggressive on the glass at Pantovic, try and wear him down with Reed and Adams, and just try and drain. But a great out pass there. Seawolves look to reset down low.
Panovich dribbles into a double team. Now kicks back outside for Rawlings. Carlberg will trigger the three. That one no good, but the ball batted by Sweet back into the awaiting arms of David Rowlands, and it earns the Seawolves an extra possession. Rolls off the screen, now hands it back to Hunter Sweet. On the drive, it's Crosby. He's cut off. His bounce pass a little offline, but it's last touch by the Saints. 6 seconds on the shot clock for Alaska Anchorage.
Well, and the Saints are coming out front and guarding the top of Pantovic, making the Seawolves throw it over. Right now, Seawolves haven't gone with that.
Baseline jumper is good. Hunter Sweet rises up and has his first points of the game. So the early lead for the Seawolves. Greeley thinks about a three, defers instead to Schumacher. Saints working around on the perimeter. Taking some time. Now pulling up from 17 near the baseline and connecting. Jaden Nielsen-Skinner.
Made that one rain. That one got some air there.
It sure did. Nearly hit those tarps hanging from the Marcus Pavilion ceiling. The other way. Early bucket in the secondary break for the Seawolves. Schumacher at the top of the key. Now the first touch of the game for Brett Reed, the Saints' leading scorer thus far on the season. Down low it comes for Greeley. Fadeaway 8-footer won't fall. Strong rebound for Brett Reed. Works his way around Augie Pantovic. Tumbles to the floor. Off balance. Put back will not fall. And back come the Seawolves. 2 minutes gone by. Rawlings handles here on the near side wing. Anchorage content to work it around. Sets up for a wide open look at a three, and Tobin Carlberg squares it. And all of a sudden, an early 8-2 advantage for Alaska Anchorage. Well, on the floor for a moment, but play resumes just like that.
Yeah, for the Seawolves, they're looking to set up that outside shot, force the Saints to come out, and that's going to give Augie down low a lot of looks one-on-one. That's what they're trying to draw.
Tyke Thompson going to work in the low post. His fadeaway along the baseline won't fall. Rowlands races out with it. Down low it comes for Pantovic. Back to the basket, goes to work on Reed. Backs him down, gets into the paint, kicks outside. Three in the corner. Not attempted by Reed. Instead he drives and he's jostled out of bounds. Our first whistle of the game called against the Saints. That's Alex Schumacher earning that one with a forearm in the back of David Rowlands. Rowlands with the offensive foul just reached back and popped Jaden Nielsen-Skinner right in the face. I could hear that through my headset up here. Good show of sportsmanship from Rowlands, though, as he doubles back to check on Nielsen-Skinner. They dap up and we play on. Inadvertent, but it looked weird, that's for sure.
Yeah, just some inadvertent contact. Nielsen-Skinner actually came up limping a little bit earlier. That's when that quick stoppage happened when we had the whistle on the floor. Nielsen-Skinner was kind of coming up limping and then takes another shot there. I mean, that's a tough start, but checking in for blood, make sure he's okay.
Yeah, and the referees are going to take a look at this and try to just see whether there was any malicious intent behind that shot. He just straight up hit him right in the face. It was an odd play. I do feel like Rollins was just sort of doubling back to retrieve the ball. Had let it sort of bound away from him there for a moment. And I think it's just going to be ruled a common foul, and it is.
Yeah, no malicious intent. Didn't look like anything like that. Just unfortunate.
Yeah, it was a foul called on Rollins. So ball out of bounds to St. Martin's. Thompson here on the near side. Will trigger inbound to Nielsen Skinner.
Well, so far the Saints have been starting with Brett Reed outside, kind of leaving Pantovic down low by himself. We'll see if the Saints keep with that look.
Nielsen Skinner skips off the high Brett Reed screen. They leave it for Thompson. Now it's Reed down low. Goes to work. It's right into the chest of Pantovic. Takes his time. Sets his feet. Beautiful move down low. Wild pass. Whistles out of bounds and up into the stands. Keegan Crosby just got going way too fast. No chance for Tobin Karlberg to come down with that one. Turnover gives it back to the Saints. Here's Greeley for three in front of the Alaska Anchorage bench. No good. Rebound to Keegan Crosby.
Yeah, Saints are going to want to go quick like that all night. That's kind of the wide open look. They trust these shooters. If they have a little bit of space, take the shot.
Both teams just showing man-to-man defense so far in the early goings. Now it's Hunter Sweet looking to go to work on Thompson. Sidesteps Thompson, gets into the paint, fall away, 8-footer will go. Bench wanted a travel violation, but I think he kept his pivot foot. Just made a good basketball move. Lead back to 6. Here's Nielsen Skinner on the drive. Sliding over to help was Pantovic. Did not get to the spot in time.
Both teams thinking it's a media timeout,
yeah,
but
we're
10
not
seconds
there
from
yet,
that,
fellas.
so.
Get back on the floor. Don't you guys want to play? Look, I'm not good at math, but even I know when and where the media timeouts are supposed to be whistled based on how those numbers look up on the board. And playing so that Jaden Nielsen Skinner can attempt these 2 free throws. Stop playing. It's Nielsen Skinner at the line for a pair of foul shots.
Oh, and Nielsen Skinner again. We didn't get to see him in the starting lineup while they made that trip down to California. Something you talked about a little bit. Playing 3 games in 4 days. That is a very tough thing to do. And so Nielsen Skinner, I mean, this guy, when we saw him against Warner Pacific on the floor, he blew me away. I mean, I think he's one of the best defensive guards the Saints have had, in my time here, about 5-6 years. I know that's not a long time, but he is a good defensive guard. He's going to keep you in front, and he makes a lot of very smart plays. Leads the GNAC in assist-to-turnover ratio at almost 4.
Yeah, I think the thing that's most impressive about him to me is his electrifying speed. B.J. Stanley-esque for those Saints fans who remember B.J. Stanley, one of the quickest guys baseline to baseline that this gym has ever seen. Tough shot in traffic for Alaska Anchorage. And the lead up to 7 now at 12-5. Brett Reed spins right into the chest of David Riley. Shot won't fall. So David Riley fresh on the floor for the Seawolves and a good defensive stand to get things going for him.
Brett Reed wanted that right there without Pantovic on the floor. He wanted to take a crack and see if he could get another easy basket, but Seawolves come up strong defensively.
Rollins leads the conference in assists so far, by the way. He is an elite point guard, to be sure. Now Karlberg handles. Couple of fancy dribbles. Now a step back 3 on its way from Hunter Sweet, and he buries it as the shot clock expires. And that will bring us to a stoppage in play. So Alaska Anchorage racing out to the early advantage. They lead it 15-5. 5 minutes gone by on the St. Martin's Digital Network. So a 15-5 early lead for Alaska Anchorage. It is the Hunter Sweet show so far. Hunter Sweet already with a game-high 9 points to the game's first 5 minutes. Very sharp start and crisp for the transfer from Concordia. By the way, a moment ago I screwed up when I called Tobin Karlberg Hunter Sweet's teammate at Concordia. That is completely incorrect. I screw up at least 14 times on every broadcast. There is another former Concordia player on this team, and that is Caleb Larson. He's a good-looking shooter himself, and he's on the floor handling right now for the Seawolves, who enjoy a 10-point lead thus far in this game. Larson looking inside instead. Kicks it across to Karlberg. That ball kicked by Tyke Thompson.
Well, the Saints have switched their defense now into a zone. We've seen them play more man-to-man recently. They started when head coach Aaron Landon came over and took this job. It started as primarily only a zone defense. They've switched now more to man-to-man, but they do break out this zone every now and again. It's his bread and butter, and we see it here.
Yeah, in part they're doing it because Marky Adams is fresh on the floor for the Saints, manning the low blocks for the Saints right in the middle of that zone. He steps out to the high post here. Hunter Sweet challenges him, takes it right to the rack, lays it in. Hunter Sweet already in double figures, and it's a 12-point lead for the Seawolves in the early goings. Also fresh on the floor for the Saints is Christian Hafner. Here, though, it's Alex Schumacher pulling up from 11 feet, and he knocks down the mid-range jumper.
Yeah, Sweet's getting it done on the outside. There, right there, gets one of the best shot blockers on him, and Marky Adams, and he just goes right around him, uses his speed. You know, he's showcasing all the inside-out skills right now, which made him, in my opinion, the #1 free agent on the market when Concordia closed its doors.
Into the corner it goes. 8 on the shot clock as Crosby goes to work. Leaves it off along the baseline. Now Crosby with it. Shot clock set to expire. Will the Seawolves get off a shot? They will not. Great defensive stand from the Saints. Keegan Crosby good on the three, but that ball clearly still in his hand when he let it go. So wave it off and give the ball right back to St. Martin. 17-7 our score. So the 5 on the deck for the Saints. Brett Reed still out there, as is Alex Schumacher and Tyke Thompson. The reserves on the floor right now, Christian Hafner, the cold-blooded shooter, and Marky Adams, the preseason all-conference selection for the Saints.
Yeah, you talk about a cold-blooded shooter. He's probably the best pure shooter on this Saints team. Being able to bring him off the bench, here it is.
Gets a look for 3 here with enough space and knocks it home. Christian Hafner with his first look at the ball game, and he takes full advantage. Lead now at 7, 17-10. Thompson at the top of that Saints zone. Crosby flashes free for a moment in the high post. Now gets it back. Bluffs to the corner, now backs it out. Anchorage.
Seawolves really struggling to find that inside part of the zone.
Larson sealed off, and a traveling violation. So the Saints zone is really disrupting the flow of the game so since they went to it. And a timeout on the floor. 30-second timeout, we'll keep it here. So, yeah, Austin, the Saints went to this zone defense once they brought Marky Adams and Christian Hafner onto the floor, and it has worked out so far. They have completely disrupted the offensive flow for the Seawolves.
Yeah, and the Saints put a lot of length up at the front of the zone, and a player like Tyke Thompson. I mean, he can cover a lot of ground. You have Schumacher out in the corner as well, who can make up a lot of space. Saints, that's kind of, I think, their biggest difference from last year to this year is their length that they've added. Greeley as well. I mean, those guys can play out wide, and they can also affect so many different passing lanes. And so for me, you know, this has been the big lineup for me to see how is it going to work with Brett Reed and Marky Adams on the floor at the same time. You know, two players who want to dominate down low on the block. How do the Saints use that to their advantage? We saw it. They set it up for a screen outside to Hafner. Do they try and go down low now?
Kyle Greeley back on the floor as the Saints break camp here after the timeout. Into the hands of Hafner. Looking down low for Reed for a moment. Now he drives, kicks it back to Reed, who drifts back toward the top of the key. Schumacher handles. 12 on the shot clock. And look at this, a little zone look at the other end for the Seawolves, but Christian Hafner finds the right angle, goes glass. That's a tough angled shot, but he banks it home. Look at the nice little shooter's touch from Christian Hafner, who's got the Saints' last 5 points.
Yeah, and that's what head coach Aaron Landon talked about in the preseason. He really felt like if you looked around the GNAC, the most successful teams have a scorer who can come off the bench and immediately make an impact. That's what Christian Hafner has been for the Saints.
Anchorage answers back very quickly. Tobin Karlberg's three was good, but he fouls the three-point shooter at the other end. That will send Alex Schumacher to the line for 3 shots once we return. We have reached another stoppage in play. Alaska Anchorage lead now at 8, 20-12, 11:50 to play here in the first half. $11:50 left here in our first half. Alaska Anchorage really on the strength of the Hunter Sweet Road Show, getting things rolling. Hunter Sweet already in double figures. He's been quiet since he got there. But good heavens, he's almost single-handedly still outscoring the Saints. And the Seawolves lead at 20-12. It is Alex Schumacher making his way to the free throw line for 3 shots as we resume action here inside Marcus Pavilion. Both of these teams off to very nice starts to their season. The Saints at 4-2 on their season. 5-2 start for Alaska Anchorage.
Yeah, for me here to start this game for St. Martin's, started slow offensively, which, you know, I wasn't expecting that. Alaska Anchorage, though, they are a good defensive team. They win. It was a great game to watch. I know, you know, Sunday night, that's what you were doing, right, over the break, watching some Hawaii Hilo versus Alaska Anchorage. That game went overtime. Hongi Pantovic had some great baskets at the end of that game, and Alaska Anchorage came out on top. So this team, they had some tough games over the week, but I thought they might come out a little stale on the legs. They have not. They've looked good defensively.
Schumacher good on all 3 free throws. 5-point game. We're getting our first look at Champ Spencer on the floor now for the Saints.
Talk about a winning career he had in high school. Put up some ridiculous W's. And there's going to be a travel on the floor for the Seawolves. But St. Martin's going up the road to Sumner and picking up 2 really good recruits out of that high school. St. Martin's, you know, a lot of these transfers coming in, but the freshmen are good too.
By the way, a good sign for the Seawolves. A.J. Garrity on the floor. He's been out of commission for the last handful of games for this Seawolves team. A.J. Garrity injured in the 3rd game of the year, so he missed the last 4 games for this team, but he is on the floor seeing his first action. So welcome back to action, A.J. Garrity, for this Seawolves team. He extends their bench by another body. He handles here for the moment. Guarded closely by Spencer. Forced him into a turnover a moment ago on the preceding possession. Rowland circles around to get it. Diving to the hole is A.J. Garrity, nothing doing. Instead, it's a long 3 cast from Caleb Larson. That won't fall. Hafner tracks it down for the Saints, and back comes Nielsen Skinner the other way. Dribbles into the paint. Now back to a man-to-man look. Go the Seawolves. They've showed that zone for a possession, maybe 2. They are back to man at the other end.
It was when the Saints went to that 2-forward look. Now when they bring it back just to Marky Adams, they go back to a man-to-man.
Greeley on the drive. Pulls up from 13. Swish. Kyle Greeley with a beautiful looking mid-range stroke. and it brings the Saints within 3. 20-17 our score as we near the halfway point of the first half.
I mean, you know the Saints can score. They got a lot of different options on the floor every possession. Even if you have a guy like Schumacher and Thompson and Reed on the bench, Greeley, Skinny, Hafner. I mean, they got so many weapons. And so you knew St. Martin's was going to cut into this lead real quick.
Rowlands pulls up for 3. That leaves it well short. Hafner tracks it down in the short corner. Hafner. The Saints will reset here, run their stuff. Nielsen Skinner comes to get it. Skips into the paint, leaves it for Adams. Tough pass to handle. He corrals it. Kicks it back for Hafner. 3 on the way. No good. Greeley after the rebound. Unable to secure it. And Rowlands will steer it the other way for the Seawolves. A.J. Garrity bluffs it a 3. Backs it out, gets it back. Spencer comes to get him between the circles. Rollins on the switch now. Greeley on him. Back down low for Hunter Sweet. Beautiful spin move, but Marky Adams rejects the shot. What do we have here? Offensive foul. Well, that one certainly could have gone either way. Not entirely sure whether Garrity had his feet set. Nevertheless, the referee calls it an offensive foul. It is whistled against Christian Hafner. The first on him and the third on the Saints.
And we'll see Pantovic back in, Reed to join him. I expect to see that a lot. I think the Saints are really going to want to keep that matchup of Reed on Pantovic down low and then try and take the mismatch against Adams on the second wave.
Nielsen Skinner guarding Rollins closely. Greeley all over Hunter Sweet. Under 10 on the shot clock. Down low it goes for Pantovic. Arm bar called against Brett Reed. That's a kind of a tough foul as well, especially considering Pantovic had already turned to face the basket.
Yeah, that's exactly where the Saints want to push Pantovic out that far to catch the ball on the block, force him to dribble in.
Shot clock back to 20. Rowlands directs the offense. Carlberg will steady things for a moment anyway. Now he rolls off the high screen, drifts into a 3 and nails it. A well-designed play, and Tobin Carlberg makes the Saints pay. Found just enough space and drills the 3 in front of the Saints bench. Back to a 6-point game. Brett Reed handles at the top of the key. Now Greeley for a long 3. Looks a little off, and it is. Weak side rebound, Keegan Crosby. Rowlands quickly ahead the other way. Down low for Sweet. Picked up there by Spencer. Carlberg kicks outside now. Pantovic goes to work on Reed. Dribbles into a double team. They work it around for Sweet. He'll try for 3. That one no good. His first miss of the night. And falling out of bounds with the ball is Tobin Carlberg, and it'll bring us to yet another stoppage in play. Well, both teams kind of starting to feel it a little bit here. They're just still feeling one another out here in the GNAC opener on the Saints Digital Network. Civic.
Really?
Well, as we rejoin the action here, we've already got one final score to bring you from GNAC action. Check this out. How about Central Washington rising up and knocking off Seattle Pacific? Now, Central Washington's a pretty good squad this year, but SPU largely considered to be the runaway favorite. They've really struggled a little bit. They found their footing recently after a 1-3 start. They've worked their way back to 4-3, but dropped their opener tonight against the Wildcats. Schumacher the other way, leans into a 12-footer. It falls off just a little bit short. And Crosby clears it for the Seawolves. Rowlands the other way. A.J. Garrity make that. Carlberg looks to duck inside. Now hands it off for Hunter Sweet. Nearly loses control. Back to Carlberg. Kick to the corner. 3 on the way from Crosby. Off the back heel. Rebound, though. Hunter Sweet for the Seawolves.
Well, for the Seawolves, it's exactly what you had talked about in the pregame show. Very top-heavy, starting 5 kind of action. And there's great look down low.
Tobin Carlberg finds Augie Panovich with no one around. And he calmly, easily lays it off glass, and it's back to an 8-point lead for Alaska Anchorage. Nielsen Skinner handles up top. Drops it off for Thompson, reverses back for Greeley. Now Schumacher, his head up, surveys, rolls off the high screen, steps back for 3, drills it, Alex Schumacher. Knocks down the 3 and looks back in the direction of the Seawolves bench. Maybe somebody said something to him, I'm not sure, but I love the moxie and the early offense displayed here by Alex Schumacher.
Well, Schumacher in his freshman year wasn't the best three-point shooter. That part of his game has improved, in my opinion, more than anything else. And you see teams, they're going to have to adjust. You can't slack off on the screen. You have to come out on top of it because he's going to be able to take those three-pointers and hit them at a high rate now.
He's got a team-high 8 points so far in this contest for the game's first 13 and a half minutes. So Schumacher well on his way to a big night. However, bad news for the Saints. That's the second foul whistled against Brett Reed. He's got to take a seat. Marky Adams back on the floor as Tobin Carlberg squares up and knocks down yet another 3. And the Seawolves continued to shoot well here in this contest. Tyke Thompson, his 3 rattles off. 8-point game. Crosby in the corner. They work it around. Look at Panovich stepping out for 3, and he drills it. And that will bring about a timeout from St. Martin's. Ogie Panovich is not at all a bad three-point shooter. Doesn't put up a lot of them, but when he does, he's connecting, well, just 2 for 9 so far on the season.
Small sample size, but that looked smooth right there.
Sure
and
did.
Honestly, you're going 30-40% as a big man. It makes you come out. It affects the defense, and he's feeling it right there. Seawolves up by 11.
Well, the three-point shooting for the Seawolves has been just scalding hot thus far. They're 7 of 12, 58% from beyond the arc. It's Carlberg who's leading the way. He's 4 for 5 out there. Give him a dozen points. He has now surpassed Hunter Sweet. His 11 points early paced the Seawolves, but it's Carlberg here of late. And look at Panovich knocking down the 3. Again, 58% three-point shooting. The Saints are going to have to do a better job defending the perimeter in order to give themselves a chance, because right now they're looking up at their largest deficit of the game at 31-20 at the 6-minute mark of the first half. A little bit of token pressure here in backcourt exhibited by the Seawolves. Saints break it easily. There wasn't much there. Just kind of showing it. Here's Nielsen Skinner. Starts his drive, accelerates, now kicks. Schumacher on the drive, gets around his man. Tough angle, goes high off the glass, no good. Marky Adams raises for the two-handed flush on the putback. Our first punch of the night, courtesy of the big man from
Forks, Washington.
Marky Adams raises up with a two-handed flush. Gets the crowd up on its feet for a moment. 5.5 minutes to play. Gotta love seeing that from Marky. Goes to work defensively here on Panovich. Does a nice job. But the offensive rebound wrestled away by Keegan Crosby.
That's one the Saints have to come away with there. You just came up with a great stop defensively. Get on the momentum. Now you have to do it again.
Crosby handles here on the near side wing. Long 3 cast on the way, and it misses everything. That one completely ill-advised considering the result. David Rowlands was out near the volleyball line. Hoisted that one from about 28 feet and missed the basket by about 1.5 feet.
Yeah, Saints just need to keep chipping away here. You're not trying to erase the whole deficit in the final 5. Don't get me wrong, they would like to, but you're just trying to chip away, get this back down to about 5 or 6 going into the locker room.
Really on the drive. Steps back from 12 feet, knocks it down, and he's fouled. How about that effort from the D1 transfer, Kyle Greeley? And oh man, just good strength, great composure. Kyle Greeley earns himself the and one.
Well, that's what St. Martin's needed. 2 momentum plays. You get the big putback dunk. You get the fadeaway, the foul. I feel a little bit like Dickie V right here, you know? I mean, exactly what St. Martin's needed. Start getting this crowd back into it. And free throw here makes it just a 6-point game.
So the Saints starting to feel some energy at the offensive end after the two-handed putback by Markey a moment ago, and now the and one from Kyle Greeley. Saints now back into that zone defense. They've kind of switched back to man-to-man for at least a possession or two. Now they're back to that 2-3 zone. Long cast, no good. That's Wojciech Rusek. He can't finish. Look at Schumacher the other way. It goes between the wickets. Can't finish, leaves it short. Rollins races out for the Seawolves. Kicks to the corner. 3 on the way from Karlberg. Good. Tobin Karlberg with his 5th 3 of the first 15 minutes of this game. Dude is absolutely setting Marcus Pavilion ablaze at the moment. 5 of 6 from 3 is Tobin Karlberg. Give him 15 points on the night thus far.
Well, just him and Sweet have combined for 26 points. But there you go. There's the answer. Alex Schumacher gets the cross-up, couldn't finish this time. Taking the contact, the and one, and that's a way to send us to a timeout.
Schumacher hangs and hits. He will head to the line for the and one once we return. 33-27. Man, folks, buckle up. The last 3 minutes and 53 seconds of this first half will be action-packed. So not quite a full docket tonight in the GNAC. We've got 8 teams getting underway here tonight in GNAC play. We've already got one result in the book. Central Washington taking down Seattle Pacific. A mild upset, but Central Washington is off to a very nice start. That win moves their record to 4-1 on the season. Our other 2 games in action tonight. Alaska is in Monmouth to take on Western Oregon. Northwest Nazarene is over in Billings taking on the Yellow Jackets. Those games both getting underway about the same time that we tipped off right here inside Marcus Pavilion. Schumacher good on the free throw, lead back down to 5. Saints settle back in to that 2-3 defense with Adams manning the post down low. My goodness gracious, are you kidding me? Tobin Karlberg could hit shots in his sleep right now. Things are going that well for him. He is 6 for 7 now from 3. Saints are going to have to account for him until he cools off, if he ever does at all. Tobin Karlberg now with 18 points, half of the output for Alaska Anchorage. That long 3 won't go. Long rebound, Kyle Greeley. Here comes Nielsen Skinner the other way. Gives it back to Tyke Thompson, walks into a 3. That one no good. Adams can't control the offensive glass. Riley brings it down, and the Seawolves run their stuff at their end.
Now, the moment that ball is rebounded, the Saints, they need to have an eye on Karlberg. Wherever he goes to the floor, someone has to shadow him. He can't get any more room.
He sneaks along the baseline over to the other side. Handles here, raises for 3 again. He's only human after all. That one does bound off. But look at the effort from Keegan Crosby as he gets on the deck. And he earns a foul against the Saints' Tyke Thompson. credit Keegan Crosby for keeping the play alive for the Seawolves. A couple of reserves make their way onto the floor. Goy Wang, we're getting our first look at him tonight for the Saints. Also coming back in is Christian Hafner. So the Saints going with a slightly smaller lineup here. I say slightly, but it's really a dramatically smaller lineup. So weave action up top for Alaska Anchorage, looking for some space. Saints now in a man-to-man defense with Adams out of the game.
Wow.
Three on the way is good.
Wow.
David Rollins. He has struggled from the perimeter so far in this game, but his shot there is true, and it's back to an 11-point game. Alaska Anchorage
they're on
is
fire.
flowing at the offensive end.
On fire tonight offensively from beyond the arc. I mean, they haven't had to really go down low too much to one of the best big men in the conference. That's how well they've been shooting the ball.
Nielsen Skinner tries for three. Knocks it down from the top of the key. That's a clutch shot, much needed for the Saints. Lead back down into single digits. Just want to keep this thing close as we tick down into the waning moments of the first half. Dangerous pass there. It all works out for the Seawolves. 12 on the shot clock as Rollins drifts right to left over toward the Saints bench. Reverses it back into the hands of Karlberg, guarded closely by Hafner. Starts a drive. Gets into the shoulder of Hafner, and they will call that a shooting foul. So Tobin Karlberg will make his way to the free throw line, fouled by Hafner on his way to the rack. That is the 7th foul on the Saints. Interesting that subs were allowed to come in just now. Typically that doesn't happen until between the first of two free throws. Oh, they are calling this a 1-and-1. Initially the referee had signaled. He had 2 fingers in the air. He called it a shooting foul to begin with, but that changed. It became a 1-and-1. There we go. That makes more sense. He for sure had 2 fingers in the air initially. They changed it to a foul on the floor, but it was the Saints' 7th foul of the first half. So a 1-and-1 here for Karlberg, and he earns the bonus and knocks it down. 10-point game, 1:20 to play. See what the Saints can do in these last couple of possessions here in the first half. Goy Wang down low. Takes the bullet pass, but loses the ball on his way up.
Well, that's unfortunate for the Saints. They had Hafner wide open in the corner. Just couldn't get him the ball. You had the best shooter on the floor for you. You got to be able to find him and get him the ball.
Ideally, the Saints would get this down into single digits going into the halftime break. We'll see how things go. Panovich bodied up nicely by Wang, but Rollins comes over and drills yet another 3. And now the lead swells to 13. The Seawolves' biggest of the first half. Hafner was open that time. They got him the ball. He just could not complete the 3-point attempt. Seawolves could go 2 for 1 here, but they've got to hustle if they want to do it. They will slam on the brakes here and take their time. Panovich handles it above his head. Now Keegan Crosby on the drive. Gets all the way to the rack, lays it up and in. And the Saints now trail by 15. Shot clock off for the final 20 seconds of the first half.
And the end of the first half could not have gone any better for the Seawolves. Saints, they need a basket here. Just get some momentum back in your side going into the halftime.
12 seconds, 10 seconds now as Nielsen Skinner. Wang comes out to set the screen. Nielsen Skinner rolls off it, pulls up for 3. Got it! Huge, much needed critical basket. All 3 of those points very necessary for the Saints. Someone else wants to try out for the band, I guess. They're thinking I could play some drums too. At any rate, we have reached the halfway point of our game. Very entertaining first half. We will take an extended break here on the St. Martin's Digital Network, but please rejoin us with about 3 minutes left in the halftime break for a quick St. Martin's men's basketball halftime show, for a look back at first half stats and a look ahead to second half action between the Seawolves and the Saints on the St. Martin's Digital Network. And welcome back inside Marcus Pavilion for the St. Martin's men's basketball halftime show. Jeff Lucero alongside Austin Burns, as per always. 46-34 our halftime score. The story of the first half for Alaska Anchorage, well, it was Hunter Sweet getting off to a ridiculous start in the game's first 5-6 minutes. He eased his way to double figures. Hasn't been heard from since, but you know what? It hasn't really been that big of a deal because it was none other than Tobin Karlberg who completely lost his mind for the rest of the first half. Finished with 19 first half points, 6 of 8 from the floor, 5 of 7 from 3, and a pair of free throws as well. A combined 30 points from those two dudes for Alaska Anchorage. They wind up shooting 61% from the floor, 57% from 3. For the Saints, it was Alex Schumacher leading the way. He's got 11 points, the only Saints player in double figures. Not too far behind is Jaden Nielsen-Skinner. He's got 9 points. Saints for the first half shoot 44% from the floor, 33% from 3, 86% at the line. Not a ton of turnovers for either team, just 4 for the Saints and a meager 5 for Alaska Anchorage. So 9 turnovers combined in the first half. So both teams taking very good care of the ball. The big difference, Austin, is that Alaska Anchorage just refuses to cool off. They are shooting the absolute lights out here in Marcus Pavilion. I'm surprised the lights are still on in this gym right now because Alaska Anchorage just turned around and blasted every single one of them out of here to the tune of 61% shooting from the floor.
Yeah, they came out of the cold tundra of Alaska and caught fire in Lacey. And I mean, wow, what a performance they put on. I mean, they were clicking on all cylinders. The Saints had a couple opportunities to cut into that lead, but the Seawolves responded. And it was different guys stepping up at different times. And I think that's a really encouraging fact if you're a Seawolves fan, seeing multiple guys step up. It's not just one guy doing all the heavy lifting. If you're St. Martin's, okay, you're down by 12. It's not the end of the world. It's still, you can come back in, especially with this offense. We know how fast they can put points up on the board, but defensively have to do a better job closing out on the defenders. You know, Alaska Anchorage, they stretched that Saints defense. They were making them come real far out. You know, Anchorage did not do a whole lot down low, but they didn't have to. I'll be curious to see, do the Seawolves try and set stuff up early to get some points going towards the basket.
And a big key for the Saints in that first half was Brett Reed picking up 2 fouls. He was very, very quiet in the first half. The Saints' leading scorer and rebounder on the season held to just 2 points in limited action, saw just 11 minutes of court time after picking up that second foul. It'll be very interesting to see. I'm sure, obviously, he'll be on the floor to start the second half, but Austin, the Saints have to do everything they can to keep him from picking up a third foul early and start getting him involved in the rhythm of the offense at their end of the floor.
Well, in the last, I believe, 2 out of 3 games, Reed had gone for at least 20 and 8. I mean, he's an impact player, so hoping to get him back into the flow offensively. And again, the Saints just need to slowly chip away. They don't have to go for the big home run shot. You can't hit a 12-pointer. You know, you just slowly get back into this one. And I think that comes from down low. They were heaving up a lot of shots kind of early in the shot clock. I'd like to see the Saints try and get that ball down low once a possession.
Starting 5 for either side back on the floor as we get set for second half action. We are underway. Alaska Anchorage with the first possession of the second half. They're now moving right to left on your radio dial. Under the high post it comes. Elbow extended for Hunter Sweet. Again, 11 points early in the first half. Hasn't scored since, hasn't had to. It's been all Tobin Karlberg ever since. Down low it comes. Augie Karlberg fights through the contact, bullies his way for the basket, up and in. Foul is assessed to Tyke Thompson. He drifted over to help, but there was not much he could do. Might have been better off just getting out of the way of Augie Bantovich at that point.
Yeah, I don't think you're stopping him. He's too strong.
Yeah.
And that battle was won before he even got the ball. He just immediately, you know, positioned himself inside, and a great job by his teammate to find him and reward him.
Can't connect on the free throw, but it's a 14-point lead. They led by as many as 15 in the first half. Greeley thinks about a 3 now, drives a lot of contact, could hear it inside. Winds up with a 13-foot fadeaway. That won't fall. Twisting, turning, shot would not go down. And Rollins controls and brings it the other way for the Seawolves. Picks up his dribble in front of his bench. Reverse it back into the hands of the red-hot Tobin Karlberg. Now Rollins, who started to feel it himself from the outside, goes glass. Look at the little runner from David Rollins coming off the wing. And now the Seawolves with their largest lead. Tyke Thompson the other way. His three just does pop out. And a strong rebound for Pantovic.
And that's the exact play right there. I'd like to see the Saints don't panic, set into your offense first. Don't just start heaving up threes. You still have plenty of time in this game.
Keegan Crosby looks off the man. Fires for three. That one too strong. Tyke Thompson the rebound for the Saints. Man-to-man defense pretty much for the entire way. Maybe a possession or two of zone for Alaska Anchorage. Keegan Crosby comes up and under, gets underneath the shooter, Alex Schumacher. His 15-footer here on the wing won't go down, but he is fouled and will head to the line. So Alex Schumacher's been very aggressive at the offensive end here in this game. And Austin, personally, that's something I love seeing, especially when Brett Reed was saddled with foul trouble in the first half. He's been the guy to do his best to kind of be the aggressor at the offensive end for the Saints.
Yeah, I think you could have easily looked at Schumacher coming into the season. He was the leader of this team. And, you know, he's kind of, I wouldn't say taken a back seat by any means, but what he's done is he's allowed the transfers to come in and find their footing as well. And he kind of, you know, helps the Saints become more of a complete offense. But here he is, you know, starting to take over for the Saints, become their main offensive weapon. You know, and that shows to me signs of leadership, signs of maturity. He's really grown a lot in his 3 years here at St. Martin's.
Connects on both free throws. They look down low for Pantovic. Adams back on the floor for the Saints. Pantovic goes to work. Fakes left, goes right. Shot hangs off the back iron, finally falls off. Reed there to cover up for the Saints. Schumacher brings it the other way, rolls off the screen from Reed. At the elbow, tries to bounce a pass inside for Adams, but a little bit off the mark. Adams can't control it. And the turnover gives it right back to the Seawolves, who lead by 14. Just a couple of minutes gone by here in the second half. Crosby looking for a moment for Pantovic. Instead, they kick it to the corner. A three on the way from Rollins. No good.
Well, that one
rebound tipped out by Pantovic. They did everything they could to sell it as going off of Adams, but it does go back to the Saints.
Yeah, and I think Pantovic got away with one right there. Looked like Adams had established himself. You know, and you know, Pantovic has done a great job. He's faced two great bigs tonight, and they're guarding him two different ways, and that's not affecting him. He's doing a great job.
Schumacher with a beautiful bounce pass inside, sets up Marky Adams, and Adams there for the finish. Lays it off glass, and lead back down to 12. Kyle Greeley could have let that pass just about sail out of bounds. Did not know that the man had stopped moving down the baseline. It would have gone out, but credit Greeley for the heads-up play. Does enough to deflect that ball out of bounds. 23 on the shot clock for Alaska Anchorage. They bounce it to the wing for Rollins. He circles back toward the top. Into the high post, and now down low for an awaiting A.J. Garrity. Thought for a moment he might have fumbled it out of bounds, but it was last touched by the Saints, stripped away from behind. 15 on the shot clock now for the Seawolves.
Well, the Seawolves on the inbounds are very interesting. They don't use Pantovic down low. They spread him out wide, try and get some mismatches. But here's
Alex Schumacher steps into the passing lane, knocks it away. They move it ahead. There's all kinds of action as the ball goes all the way up the floor. But a foul was actually whistled in back court on Alaska Anchorage. That is Rollins' second foul. He will head to the bench. He asked out of the game. That was, he took a shot in the mouth there, but he asks out, replaced on the floor by Caleb Larson. And the Saints will look to capitalize on the turnover. Jalen Nielsen Skinner squares up a three. He's come up with a couple of clutch ones tonight, right when the Saints needed him worst. And that one chisels the lead to single digits. 50-41 our score.
Well, that's why he's the MVP to me for this team. He may not lead the Saints in scoring, but he comes up with clutch shots when they need it, and he does the little things. But they're not able to close out on his defender in time, but Seawolves missed the shot. Saints going the other way with it now.
Nielsen Skinner head up, looking for somebody. Rolls off the screen, hesitates, accelerates, drifts down the right side of the paint. Draws the foul on the floor, and that will bring us to a stoppage in play. Well, the Saints a moment ago trailed by 16. They've cut 7 points off that lead, and now the lead just 9 at 50-41. Advantage Alaska Anchorage. Two Saints now in double figures. Alex Schumacher leads the way with a baker's dozen. 12 points as well for Jaden Nielsen Skinner. It is Saints basketball. Now trailing by 9. Looking to cut further and deeper into that deficit. Nielsen Skinner from the elbow. Raises up and knocks down the 17-footer. And it's a 7-point game. Saints have worked themselves right back into contention in this thing.
Well, again, didn't need to take it all away at once. Just slowly start chipping away, and now getting locked in on the defensive zone is going to be the most key part.
Panovich starts his move. Sealed off. They cut to the corner. This is A.J. Garrity. Now back to Panovich. Back to the basket. Goes to work on Adams. Backs him down. Goes to his left shoulder. Goes up with the right. Good composure from Augie Panovich in the paint, but Marky Adams on the leak out. His little jump hook won't go. Brett Reed right there for the offensive putback, sticks it home, and it's back down to 7:52-45. I was wondering when we were going to get to see Brett Reed reinsert himself into the offense. Took a while for him to find his first shot of the second half, and there it was. Hunter Sweet with the answer. His first points in about 20 minutes of game action brings his scoring total to 14. Saints at the other end.
Yeah, Saints have a mismatch right now down low with Sweet on Adams. Saints just trying to find a way to get him the ball, and they couldn't.
Nielsen Skinner drifts off the screen, reverses it back for Greeley. Greeley, a couple of lefty dribbles, pulls up from 14 feet. Mid-range jumper is true. Kyle Greeley continues to stroke it well from all different spots on the floor for St. Martin's.
Well, Greeley, to me, he's always one of those players where you look down and you go, wow, he has 12 points now. He's just very quiet, gets in the scoring ledger, does a lot of things right. You know, to me, kind of the glue to a lot of these pieces.
Working it around the zone. They finally find the open shooter. It's Larson. His three won't fall, but Brett Reed flew at him, knocks him down, and earns his third foul of the game. And I believe that will bring Brett Reed back to the bench for the Saints in a moment. It will. Very likely as Tyke Thompson makes his way to the scorer's table. That's a tough one. 6'9" post player flying out at a 5'10" shooter deep in the corner. Just does make enough contact to send Larson to the line for 3 shots.
Well, every time the Saints have been able to chip away at this lead and get it back to within, you know, a couple possessions, Alaska Anchorage has been able to find an answer. And, you know, for St. Martin's, they're just going to have to keep trusting their process. They're getting some good baskets. They're getting some good looks. Keep going on the offensive end. The defense has to tighten up. and come up with 2 or 3 stops in a row, and this thing could be a one-possession game.
Larson hits the first 2, can't connect on the third, so it's a 10-point game. St. Martin's needs some stops and some buckets. So much time left in this thing. Schumacher handles here on the near side. Starts his drive, draws the blocking foul on Tobin Karlberg. Saints ball out of bounds. That's just a good veteran play right there from Schumacher. Saw that his man was just a little off balance, drew the contact, gets the foul.
Exactly. And, for me, Schumacher, he may have been the most improved player I've seen from last year to this year so far. He's really piecing it all together. We saw in his freshman year glimpses of superstar. You knew it was there. I think it's all coming together. And for me, I think he's going to be an all-conference player by the end of the year.
Jaden Nielsen Skinner. Skinner's his way down to the paint, tries the up and under, has it blocked by Augie Pantovic beneath the basket. Look for all the world like Jaden Nielsen Skinner was going to show off that speed and work his way all the way to the rack, but credit Pantovic, stayed home the whole time. Able to get the block and force the turnover. Empty trip for the Saints.
Well, that's what a good player does. Got beat the first time by Skinner. This time makes the adjustments and moves the feet.
Down low it comes for Hunter Sweet. Pump fakes, gets a man in the air, and a foul on the floor. Whistled against the Saints. That one goes against Greeley. That's just his first. And the third here of the half on St. Martin's. 57-47 our score. Alaska Anchorage has led for much of this game, almost all of it, in fact.
Yeah, tempo really starting to slow down, too. We had a very exciting first half. Tempo coming more down. I think Anchorage doing that on purpose, trying to limit opportunities.
2 near steals for the Saints. Now it's back into the hands of Rollins. He'll trigger from 3 from the top of the circle and knock it down.
Unselfish basketball. I mean, open look for Larson, and he gives it up to the teammate for a better look. Great movement.
These guys just play so well together. They have not wasted any time folding Hunter Sweet into the flow of this offense. He's on the floor now, but you think about just how good this team is. I think that he is on the floor. I told you, make 14 mistakes every game. That was probably like number 6 right there. Schumacher's shot won't fall. And Alaska Anchorage can settle back into their offensive flow. Sweet. Nicky Crosby comes to get it. Now Rollins steers it left to right. Tries to bounce a pass inside. It winds up off the thigh of Nielsen Skinner. Block inside from Marky Adams as he rejects the effort from Hunter Sweet. Hunter Sweet, I think, thought he had rim protection there, but it was the rim protector coming through. Now Adams was set up for a moment. Has the ball stripped from behind by Caleb Larson. They tangle beneath the Saints basket. And the foul actually whistled against Alaska Anchorage as Caleb Larson snuck up behind Marky Adams. Caught a little bit too much of Marky's body as he was able to jostle the ball free, but also fouled him in the process. So it'll stay at the Saints' end. Marky Adams will take a seat. Goy Wang back on the floor for St. Martin's. Schumacher thinks about a 3. Jab step, now defers. Back into the hands of Tyke Thompson now. Steps back into a 3. Looks good, and it is! Tyke Thompson with a much-needed 3 for the Saints. Draws them back within 10 at 60-50, 11:45 to play.
Yeah, when Tyke Thompson's starting to hit shots, I think that's when the Saints offense really can stretch defenses. He's such a dangerous piece at that 4 spot. There's his first basket of the game.
Hunter Sweet for 3 from in front of his own bench. That one no good. Strong rebound, Tyke Thompson.
Has Shu on the outside. Couldn't find him in time.
Thompson crosses over, spins, gets into the paint. Little floater from 8 feet. Tough angle, won't fall. Rebound Seawolves. Rollins on the drive. Kicks to the corner. Crosby defended by Nielsen Skinner. Rollins crosses right to left. Leaves it for Pantovic. Raises and finishes. Augie Pantovic so good in the paint. when he gets just the slightest amount of space. Schumacher crosses over, pulls up, looks off it is. Covered up by Crosby. Seawolves looking so strong in their GNAC opener here tonight. Schumacher tracks that one down in the corner. Corrals it, he'll bring it ahead. And a timeout called by Aaron Landon. We called a 30, but it'll stretch to a full. This will be a media timeout. We will take it with them. 10:36 to play. Alaska Anchorage 62, St. Martin's 50 on the Saints Digital Network. Point game here inside Marcus Pavilion. League opener, Alaska Anchorage against St. Martin's. A couple of teams off to nice starts to their seasons. Doing battle here inside the pavilion this evening. Brett Reed back on the floor for the Saints. He handles here. Starts his drive, switches one way, goes the other, goes to the glass, lays it in. How about Brett Reed? That was a beautiful move from the Saints big man. He's had a tough night, had some foul trouble in this game, so has not really been able to establish a lot, but the Saints called his number right there, right out of the timeout, and he made it work.
Oh, and right there on the flip side, it's Augie Pantovic who just sets a perfect screen, gives the lane to his teammate, and now here's Goy Wang. Three-pointer, no good, but
Strong
Brett Reed.
Rebound, Brett Reed. He's fouled from behind by Caleb Larson.
Oh, just what an impact he can make the moment he steps on the floor. Again, like you said, we just haven't been able to see it too much tonight, and now starting to get back into it, but another stoppage in play, back to a media timeout.
Busy in the Burger King bathroom. Are we back on? For crying out loud. Still over here singing Digital Underground, don't mind me. Saints ball as we rejoin the action. Christian Hafner handles. Eight seconds on the shot clock for Jaden Nielsen Skinner. Drives, kicks for Wang. Back to Hafner. He'll trigger a long three. A little bit too strong. Reed after the rebound, but Pantovic hauls it down. Keegan Crosby on the drive. Has it stripped away. Reed with it now. Jaden Nielsen, a beautiful move to push the ball up the floor. Settles into a wide open three. That one good. Jaden Nielsen Skinner with his third three of the game. And once again, timely buckets from Jaden Nielsen Skinner have kept the Saints' heartbeat very much alive in this game.
Yeah, but with time starting to run down, Saints are going to have to make the most of this opportunity. They're going to have to start coming up on the defensive end here. And
check that. That's the fourth three of the game for Nielsen Skinner. A couple of Saints after it. It's Reed who hauls it down. And Saints bring it the other way. Nielsen Skinner thinks about another three. Now drives. Cut off nicely by Larson. Good defensive effort there. They kick to the corner for Hafner. Now Greeley for three. Wide open look. Just does bounce out. Pantovic the long rebound. Able to get it off as he staggers to the floor. Rollins with it. Now Carlberger has been quiet here in the second half after torching the Nets in the first half for the Seawolves. Pantovic along the baseline. Gets into the body of Brett Reed, kicks it back. Now it's Carlberg for three. Got it. It's like I willed it into existence. I spoke it into existence right there, Austin. Tobin Carlberg with his first points of the second half.
Well, the Saints had switched to a zone defense. Augie rolls into the middle, forces the zone to collapse. One pass, two pass, bucket. Great movement by the Seawolves. That's exactly how you break the zone.
Now Wang. Really on the drive. 8-foot floater along the baseline, no good. Keegan Crosby, he's a really good rugged rebounder for the Seawolves team. Thinks about a three, he's on the drive. Now kicks it back out, three on the way from Caleb Larson, won't fall. But Carlberg retrieves it and earns the extra possession for Alaska Anchorage. Under 7.5 to play now, 12-point advantage for the Seawolves. GNAC opener for both of these teams. Central Washington already defeated Seattle Pacific tonight. Shot clock winding down. Can he get it off? He cannot. Tobin Carlberg, for all the world, thinks he got that shot off. And we might have a review here.
I think we will. I think they're going to go take another look at that one. My gut says no. I think the ball was still on the fingertips.
It was awfully close. It was too close to tell from here. This one might take a minute to sort out. Let's go ahead and take a break here on the St. Martin's Digital Network. Hey, welcome back inside Marcus Pavilion, where the referees are still taking a long look to see whether Tobin Carlberg was able to get that shot off before the shot clock expired. We'll know more in just a moment. In the meantime, let's talk about what we've seen so far here tonight, Austin. This is a team, we talked about it a lot. This Alaska Anchorage team is not deep, but man, they have so much talent in those first 7 guys. There, Rusty Osborne summons to the floor. They don't need much more than what they put out there.
No, I mean, this starting 5 can compete with anyone in the GNAC. There's no doubt about that. There's a lot of offense. I mean, and defensively, I think that's kind of been the most underrated thing about them so far, has been how good are they. You know, St. Martin's came into tonight playing really well offensively and has, I wouldn't say struggled, but definitely not been in their own rhythm. And so, you know, credit what Alaska Anchorage has been able to do on their defensive zone. For me, though, this outside shooting, I mean, that's the storyline. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. It has been the three-point shooting of the Seawolves on fire here tonight. 13 of 28 from beyond the arc. I mean, this is a team they've never been scared to let the 3-ball fly. That has always been their system. But when they connect, you kind of go, well, there's not much you can do. I mean, these guys are hitting threes from 5 feet beyond the arc. I mean, they are showing off some, you know, almost Steph Curry range, it feels like. I mean, Alaska Anchorage has been playing really well here tonight.
Well, credit the Saints. They have had to deal with the adversity of losing Brett Reed for much of this game due to some foul trouble. This is a guy that's been utterly on fire. You mentioned that he had at least 20 and 8 in each of his last 3 games. I think his numbers are right around, for those last 3 games, about 21 points and 10.5 rebounds per game. Brett Reed's been utterly unguardable over the last stretch of St. Martin's basketball. Those 3 games down in California, he just lit things up down there going up against some Pac-West programs. Acquitted himself nicely. He's no stranger to play at that level. The Chaminade transfer.
Yeah, I mean, I think something that may be overlooked for Brett Reed, you know, he averaged about 8 boards a game when he was at Chaminade, but he did it in just about 20, 25 minutes of action. I mean, this guy's one of the best rebounders in all of Division II. And you know, again, foul trouble has kind of saddled him here today, but I think you're going to see in the final 7 minutes,
So 67-55, that's our reset right now. We're still awaiting official word on whether that last basket is going to count for Tobin Karlberg. Hang in there with us, folks. We'll get there. 7:09 yet to play in this game.
Yeah, well, we got a chance here. I mean, let's go ahead and also look. I mean, Saints will be playing another school out of Alaska on Saturday with these 2 squads. You know, St. Martin's taking on Fairbanks. Fairbanks, who didn't play on the women's side earlier today. They were supposed to be down at Western Oregon. That game got postponed, will be played later. And then on the men's side, that's happening as we speak. And so we'll see if we can't get a final result from Monmouth a little bit later here tonight. That one should be wrapping up here pretty soon.
And you bring up an interesting thing here, too, and something we haven't really had much of a chance to discuss. But let's talk about this for a second. The Saints have a new travel partner this year. No longer are the Saints paired with Seattle Pacific for GNAC conference play. Their new road partner is Western Oregon. Talk about how that decision was made in terms of that change, because it always seemed like St. Martin's and Seattle Pacific were the most natural teams. But, of course, with Concordia shuttering its doors a couple of years ago, it left Western Oregon without one. I guess that meant that St. Martin's was the closest school logistically for Western Oregon to pair with. So that accounts for that reshuffling of the travel partner system in the league.
Yeah, it does. So you didn't want to pair Central Washington with Western Oregon. That's a heck of a travel day. So, you know, St. Martin's switches down and takes over Western Oregon as their travel partner. Seattle Pacific goes with Central Washington, and, you know, and everybody else stays the same. So Looks like we finally got the official word. So it looks like the call will stand.
Well, thanks for your patience, folks. We did get to the result. Wave off the basket. That was the original call for Tobin Karlberg to begin with. So a shot clock violation for the Seawolves after all that. And a fresh possession for the Saints. Schumacher and Adams now back on the floor for the Saints. They go inside for Adams. Finds the cutter. It's Brett Reed diving to the hole. His shot had no chance of falling as he was battered as he went up for that. But Brett Reed will head to the line for a pair of shots.
Well, the Saints have wondered how are they going to work Brett Reed and Marky Adams on the floor together. And there was a great example. Throw Adams down low, let him get that basket. Reed comes flying in from the outside, hand off, and it's either you're going to have to foul Reed or you're going to have to give him an open lane. Unless you're right there in position before, there's not much a defense can do.
Crosby and Panovich make their way back onto the floor for Alaska Anchorage. Reed good on both free throws, and we're back to a 10-point margin. A little token pressure in backcourt applied by Schumacher. Rollins. It's Hunter Sweet. Haven't heard much from him since that burst to start the game. Saints back in the zone defense with Murky Adams on the floor. Skip to the corner. It's an open look for three from Hunter Sweet, and he buries it.
Well, there it is. Every time the Saints seem to be getting some momentum, another three ball on the way.
Low percentage pass, high percentage shot. Marky Adams, strong offensive rebound, earns the extra possession. A little bit of a zone look once again here from Alaska Anchorage. Adams can't find the touch on his little jump hook.
Well, Saints defensively have to step up, and there's a good force. Now the Saints have to convert. No call there, a lot of contact, but Saints, I think you're going to see Schumacher to the rim. There it is.
On the drive. Tough angle won't go. Marky Adams finds Brett Reed on the other side of the paint, and Reed finishes. 70-59 our score, about 5.5 minutes left to play. Schumacher at the top of the zone now for the Saints. Tyke Thompson flies out at Rollins. Panovich down low, hands it off. Carlson just makes his way to the corner. Three on the way, no good, but the rebound tapped out by Crosby keeps the possession alive for the Seawolves.
Yeah, Saints got lucky there. They lost the shooter in the zone and then can't come away with the rebound. Those are kind of plays you have to make down the stretch.
Panovich gets into the chest of Marky Adams, turns on him, shot won't fall. Another offensive rebound for the Seawolves. Sweet triggers an early three on their third possession of that possession. It won't fall, and the Saints need a bucket. Reed down low. Kind of off balance midair. Leaves that well short. And now Karlberg from the corner. Had a lot of legs under that shot. Tyke Thompson.
Nice move by Thompson to slow it down. Didn't have the numbers.
Reed and Adams unable to connect. A little high-low action, and they could not get it done. So every possession becomes more and more important. The time continues to trickle off the clock. We're nearing the 4-minute mark of this contest.
Zone has been working for the Saints. It's coming up with some stops, but it's been the offense that's kind of gone bone dry. Saints need a quick takeaway.
Well, they almost got it there. Tyke Thompson with the quick hands. Now Karlberg with it. A long three from Rollins off the back heel. And a long rebound to Tyke Thompson. Gets it back. Walks into a three. Raises for it. Got it! 8-point game after Tyke Thompson drills the three with 3.5 to play.
Oh, and I love when Nielsen Skinner takes the ball up the court. He seems to make the right read almost every single time. Right there, seeing that the Seawolves defense was set, just hands it off for the trailer.
Tyke Thompson nearly another steal. His hands very active here down the stretch. Tough pass for Panovich to handle. And the Seawolves turn it over. Another good defensive stand for the Saints, and it brings us to a stoppage. It will be Saints ball at midcourt once we return. The last 3 minutes and 5 seconds should prove to be quite interesting in our contest. And welcome back inside for the final 3 minutes and 5 seconds of the GNAC opener between Alaska Anchorage and St. Martin's. It is Saints basketball. They are looking up at an 8-point deficit. Let's see what head coach Aaron Landon drew up in the timeout. Reverse it into the corner.
They have Adams down low.
His three shot blocked by Panovich, who flies out at him. Hunter Sweet right there to corral it.
Well,
my goodness. Augie Panovich does so much for the Seawolves team.
He does. He was able to come out on the switch. He goes out, guards the perimeter, blocks the three, just does everything for him.
He handles here. Couple of lefty dribbles. Has it taken away from behind by Kyle Greeley. Saints with a lot of time left. Here comes Schumacher on the drive. Kicks it back to outside. Tyke Thompson for three. Leaves it short. Rebound Schumacher. The double clutch midair earns the foul. And Schumacher will head to the line. We're getting a little extra here at St. Martin's inside Marcus Pavilion as Augie Panovich and Alex Schumacher exchange some pleasantries. These are the things that happen. Both teams being excused to their benches for the time being. They're both in timeout right now, Austin. That's the way I see it.
Yeah, I mean, you got last 2 minutes, GNAC game. You know, emotions are always going to run a little high. For the Saints, they had a great look there to Thompson. Greeley plays the unselfish basketball, rotates it around, you know, and then Schumacher. A lot of people ball watching. Schumacher able to get in underneath and come up with the rebound. Yeah. That's exactly what St. Martin's needed. But you're going to have to start converting on your opportunities here now. I mean, 2 minutes left. It's about time that St. Martin's has to find those baskets. There's no more. That's the best way to put it. Alaska Anchorage's defense has been suffocating all night. St. Martin's has to come away with baskets now.
Not only that, but they've also got to get stops at the defensive end as well. And here's a tricky thing for the Saints. They're nowhere near putting Alaska Anchorage in the bonus. Just 3 second-half fouls whistled against the Saints. So they're not yet at a point where they can start putting the Seawolves at the line. They're going to have to foul them make it 4 more times before they send the Seawolves to the free throw line. It's always nice when you're not in foul trouble at this point, but in a close game and you're trailing and you need to start thinking about sending a team to the foul line, that can be kind of problematic.
Well, and it will allow the Saints to play very aggressive on the defensive end, be able, knowing that they have 3 fouls to give, so they can be very aggressive on the defensive end. So now
we're still sorting out whether there's going to be apparently a technical assessed to either team. We're not totally sure. Augie Panovich still a little animated over on the Seawolves bench. Let's just quickly look at a couple of numbers from this game, though. Alaska Anchorage continuing to shoot the ball very, very well. 50% from the floor, 41% from 3. Leading the way, it is Tobin Carlberg, excuse me. He's got 22 points tonight. Remember, he had 19 of those in the first half, so the Saints have done a nice job buttoning him up here in the second half. Still, though, 22 points on 7 of 13 shooting from the floor. 3 other Seawolves players in double figures. Hunter Sweet's got 17 on 7 of 12 shooting. He's also got 7 boards on the night. Augie Panovich creeping ever closer to a double-double. He's got 11 points and 8 boards, 13 points as well for star point guard David Rollins on 5 of 11 shooting, 3 of 9 from beyond the arc. No other player has more than 5 points for Alaska Anchorage for the Saints. 3 guys in double figures. Jaden Nielsen-Skinner's got 17 points on 6 of 7 shooting, and he's 4 for 4 from 3. 13 points as well for Alex Schumacher, the only other Saint right now in double figures anyway. Brett Reed in limited action's got 10 points and 7 rebounds here tonight. And it will be Alex Schumacher making his way to the free throw line. It's a 2-shot foul. Schumacher rolls in the first.
I'll be curious to see, do the Saints, if they're able to make this free throw, do they set up a press defense knowing they have 3 fouls to give?
Bends at the knees. Schumacher right and good on the second free throw. And it's a 2-possession game, 70-64. Just better than 2 minutes left in our contest. No real pressure in backcourt. Little token pressure from Schumacher. Seawolves ease it across the timeline. Saints still in that 2-3 zone. Adams down, pack in the middle. 14 on the shot clock. Rollins picks up his dribble. Pass batted up in the air, but gathered by Panovich. Backs down Adams, gets him in the air, goes glass, no good, will head to the free throw line. Augie Panovich, he's got such good footwork down in the low post area. There's just so much to like about his game. He's just such a good player and does so much for this team.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there was no question coming into the season, Markey Adams and Panovich are probably widely regarded as the 2 best post players. You know, I think Brett Reed has also established himself in there, but Panovich right there. I mean, he takes the ball outside the block. He's able to turn, drive, go into a very strong Adams, and draw the foul. All in all, great game tonight from Augie.
Good on both free throws. Give him 13 on the night. 8-point game, 1:45 to play. Saints are going to have to start hurrying the ball up the floor. They try to set up Adams. He raises. He's fouled by Panovich, who puts his hand to the sky. It was a pretty clear and obvious foul beneath the basket. It will send Markey Adams to the free throw line.
If there's anyone you want to send to the line if you're the Seawolves, it is Markey Adams. Saints got a lot of great free throw shooters on this team. Historically, Adams has struggled at the line. Going to need to make 2 here.
Can't connect on the first. Well, at this point for the Saints, you need stops basically on every possession. You've got to come away with points on every possession at your end. That free throw nearly misses everything. It does just graze the front of the iron, but Adams no good on either free throw. So an 8-point game. Remember, the Saints are nowhere near putting Alaska Anchorage in the bonus. Panovich kicks outside. Hunter Sweet wide open 3. Ball batted around. Nielsen-Skinner after it, but he's the last to touch it. It will go back to the Seawolves with 1:13 left.
Well, now with 20 back on the shot clock for the Seawolves, I think the Saints, you have to start, and that's timeout for the Seawolves. I think the Saints are going to have to start fouling. They have 2 fouls to give. I think you have to play really aggressive, try and force a trap. You're not giving away a foul for free, not yet, but you're trying to force a trap.
Or just kind of an aggressive show on defense as well. Maybe you can come up with a steal that you can almost foul a guy that might result in a foul, but maybe you can just try for a strip. We shall see. It's a full timeout. We'll take it with them. Come back for the final 73 seconds between the Saints and the Seawolves. So this has turned into a bit of another extended timeout as the referees try to determine whether the shot clock should have reset, and it will. Back to 20 seconds for the Seawolves. No team really has anyone in any sort of significant foul trouble. A couple of dudes have 3 fouls for the Seawolves. Brett Reed's got 3 of his own for the Saints. Neither Reed nor Adams on the floor for the Saints as the Seawolves inbound into the hands of David Rawlings. Nielsen Skinner plays him closely, commits the foul.
And right there, that's what the Saints needed to do. They weren't able to trap him in the corner, just commit the quick foul. You have it one more time, try and push a Seawolf into the corner. That's where you want that ball to go. And there it is, right in the corner. There's the opportunity.
Nevertheless, Karlberg able to break through it, and Wang fouls Panovich from behind. We're looking for someone to commit fouls. Goy Wang's as good a guy as any. He has none on the game, as he has only been on the floor for about 7 or 8 minutes here tonight. He does pick up his first. The next foul will send the Seawolves to the free throw line. Exactly 1 minute left in this game. They find Panovich. Another hard show there from Jaden Nielsen Skinner. They kick to the corner. Now Crosby on the drive. Hands it off inside. Panovich blows the layup but tips it back, and that might do it. 74-64 our score. Back to a double-digit lead. Schumacher at the other end. Drains a 3. Not so fast, says Schu. A 7-point game, 45 seconds to play. Saints with a great trap here along the baseline, and a foul is called. Ooh, that was close. That was so close to just a regular old tie-up. Not much more Jaden Nielsen Skinner could have done on that defensive show, but it will send Rollins to the free throw line.
Yeah, Saints
for the 1-1.
Saints got exactly what they wanted. Ball in the corner, picked up the dribble, had to fight through it. Nice job by the Seawolves not to turn that ball over going through that double team.
Rollins good on the first, so he earns the bonus.
For the Saints, you're going to have some more of those quick threes. Kind of set up a screen on the outside, see if you can't get a roll off that fast.
Rollins good on both. Jaden Nielsen Skinner races the floor, loses it, goes to the floor, and is called for the travel. Jaden Nielsen Skinner so quick, but just got going a little bit too fast that time. And with 38 seconds left, the Seawolves regain possession for the 9-point lead. Back on the floor comes Caleb Larson. Outlet pass into the hands of Panovich. Wang comes out to foul him.
I think a timeout.
Yeah, timeout called by the Seawolves.
And so Saints will have another opportunity off the inbound pass. That's kind of the best thing he wanted right there. If you're St. Martin's, to be able to force maybe another quick turnover for Alaska Anchorage.
If they're unable to come up with that turnover, they will have to foul immediately. And hope for the best. That
I'd look to get the ball in the hands of Augie. In all honesty, he's a great free throw shooter at roughly 85%. And you know what? He's my leader. He's been on this. He's a veteran of this team. You know, I turn to him right here to see if I can't get the ball in his hands.
15 points, 9 rebounds on the night for the big man from Serbia.
And you're going to see Sweet inbound. He's the only, about 50% free throw shooter. So he's going to inbound.
Rollins comes to get it in backcourt. Saints, they're unable to force a turnover, are going to have to foul here pretty quickly. A lot of time coming off the clock. There's the guy you want to foul if you can. Saints are just unable to foul. Finally they do, but not before about 8 seconds tick off the clock.
Yeah, the moment that ball went in the hands of Sweet, you had to be committing the foul.
Instead, it's Caleb Larson who goes to the line. Larson, 6 of 7 from the line on the season, but he misses the front end. Here's Schumacher the other way. It's caught in midair, kicks outside. Nielsen Skinner back to Greeley, 3 on the way. Rims out, rebound Schumacher. Races back out to the three-point stripe, hands it off for Thompson. Nielsen Skinner for 3. That one no good. Panovich the rebound, and that will do it. So a hotly contested contest to kick things off here in the GNAC, but it is Alaska Anchorage who holds on. They lead this thing nearly wire to wire and win this one by a final score of 76-67. Fans, don't go anywhere. We're going to take a quick break, catch our breaths, and we cannot wait to have you right back here on the St. Martin's men's basketball postgame show. We'll be joined by Saints head coach Aaron Landon in just a moment. And welcome inside Marcus Pavilion for the St. Martin's men's basketball postgame show. We're going to be by Saints head coach Aaron Landon, making his way over, poring over the stat sheet. Well, Coach, hard-fought game. You and I spoke for just a moment. You wandered up here to our vantage spot, and we talked a little bit, and you mentioned one name, and it was almost like an ominous sort of thing. You talked about how good Augie Pantovic is in the post, and it was kind of on display for this team tonight. He does a lot of things well for that Anchorage squad. Talk about what you did defensively against him and how he was able to come up on the other side of things for Alaska Anchorage here tonight.
Yeah, it's crazy looking. These stat sheets never really tell the truth. The truth is they just got so many advantages playing through him. Like, he has no assists on this, and I'm like, is that the right guy? Because I thought he made so many big passes for them, but the truth is they weren't just scoring passes. They throw it into him. Unless it's Markey or really, Brett, sometimes we got to collapse. He's just that good. And so we collapse and he throws it out. And they're a really well-coached, unselfish team. And they just make those extra passes off those double teams. And that's what good players and teams do. And, yeah, that's tough. Defensively, our man-to-man D was really poor tonight. And I thought our zone did some good things. Our zone stalled them out. We put them, late in the shot clock, and we just couldn't rebound out of it, and a couple times it's a matchup zone, and we just got lost in our matchups, and that's coaching. So, walking away from that, just feeling like, Rusty sort of out-coached us, especially on the defensive end tonight. Just frustrating that 46-point half. That's going to, win most nights.
Well, you guys took really good care of the basketball tonight. Only 6 turnovers in this contest for your team. The unfortunate part of how things went for you at the offensive end of the floor, while you took good care of the ball, you still had to play much of the first half without Brett Reed. They took him completely out of the contest for so much of this basketball game. Here's a guy that came in, and that's another guy we talked about a little bit before tonight's game. He was just on absolute fire, putting up about 20 and 10 over your last 3 games, and they were able to take him out of the game. What'd they do right against him?
Some of that's fouls, early on. But really, we were just looking for answers defensively. They just force us to adjust and sort of reel and try new things, and we just couldn't find a foundation defensively tonight. We had some good possessions in the zone, but it just felt like in the first half there was one. They ran that 1-4 high, and we really blew that action and gave up a corner 3. But, a lot of it just in the zone, we just couldn't get the rebounds that mattered. With Brett, he's doing a great job this year. He's going to be really good. We're a better team than we showed tonight, but he's not going to be able to do 20 and 7 or whatever he got over that week in California every single night. I thought that we got away from our offensive system because we have so much talent. That's just a battle that we're fighting. Guys are well-intentioned, but you're talking about the turnovers. We had 6 assists tonight as a team, and as bad as it is defensively, we've just got to grow in our system and get better, and we've just shown the ability to be really good offensively, but just managing the talent and telling guys to be patient on shots. That's something I got to do a better job of.
Well, the way the GNAC schedule is structured, it's sort of a blessing and a curse. You get to turn right around and put this one behind you, but you also have so little time to prepare for Fairbanks on Saturday. What do you expect to see from that Alaska team once they take the court against you Saturday afternoon?
Do you guys know? I'm just curious. Did they win tonight?
They were still in progress.
Okay.
Let's have a gander. Let me see if I can pull this up.
No worries. I mean, they're really good. We're preparing for the Player of the Year in the conference, and he's gonna. Yeah, he's just going to put so much pressure on us defensively, and it's no secret we're going to try to win that front line battle. They're just extremely talented at that guard spot. He's very good. Sparling, his son has been playing extremely well. But they kind of go as Shadid goes, and he can beat any team in the country single-handedly. So. We'll start talking about them and how to cover him tomorrow.
I've got a final score for you from Monmouth. Western Oregon put it on Alaska tonight, 99-74. So Alaska is going to come limping up north here from Oregon, licking their wounds a little bit after suffering a 25-point loss tonight.
Okay. Wow. Well, they'll come upset, and I'm sure both teams will have something to prove, and I know we feel that way. We'll just worry about us and come out ready to go on Saturday.
There you go. Can't wait to see it. Coach, tough one tonight, but we'll get things turned around come Saturday. That is the St. Martin's men's basketball head coach, Aaron Lanning, stopping by. St. Martin's head coach Aaron Landon stopping by, hanging out with us for a few moments. Always good to hear from him. Austin, it was a very tough game. The Saints put themselves in the early hole. At the first time out, it was 15-5, and Alaska Anchorage able to kind of keep St. Martin's comfortably at bay for much of this one. First, it was outside shooting in the first half, and then second half just kind of hitting from all over the floor. This is a very good, very balanced, although not a very deep Alaska Anchorage team. They're going to do some big things in this conference going forward.
Yeah, I mean, when, like Coach Landon said, when they're shooting the ball like that, they're a tough team to beat. You know, they came out of the gates red hot. They stuck to their game defensively. Honestly, that was one of the best efforts I've seen all year from any defense against the Saints. They really played hunkered down, and again, Brett Reed picking up those 2 early fouls, taking him out of the offense, taking the best, hottest player for the Saints out of the floor. And so, you know, credit Alaska Anchorage. They came in, they were prepared, and, you know, they walk away with a W here tonight. But, you know, like you were alluding to, it's a quick turnaround. You know, the scout's already been done. You kind of do a walkthrough tomorrow for Alaska, and you get right back on the court in less than 48 hours against, you know, one of the best players in the country in Shadid Shabazz.
I can't wait to see Shadid Shabazz play some basketball come Saturday. That dude can really light it up. As Coach Landon mentioned, we will get set for the likely GNAC, or at least the prohibitive favorite to be GNAC Player of the Year this year. One of the most talented guys across the nation, Shadid Shabazz. And that team coming up here, that's a surprising score. Did not expect to see Western Oregon put it on Alaska the way that they did. 99-74. What in the world do you think happened down there?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of offense. I mean, you know, Western Oregon, they got some really good players. Crankston immediately comes to mind. You know, they got a lot of players on the floor that can put the points up quickly. So, you know, it's a team who had a lot of success for many years. You know, it was really the Saints and the Wolves battling it out for conference titles for about 3 years in a row. And Western Oregon reloaded and put 99 up. Not a bad way to tip off the GNAC season for them.
So a quick look at some final numbers here before we wrap things up. Alaska Anchorage winds up shooting 49% from the floor, 40% from three, and 73% at the foul line. 4 guys wind up in double figures. Carlberg winds up with 22 points after putting up 19 in the first half, 7 of 13 from the floor, 17 points as well for Hunter Sweet to go along with 7 rebounds. Augie Panovich does wind up with the double-double. That rebound at the end of the game pushed him up into double digits on the glass. 15 points and 10 rebounds for him on the night. 15 points as well for Rollins, 5 of 11 shooting from the floor. He also had 4 rebounds and 4 assists. He is the leading player for the GNAC in assists per game. For the game, Alaska Anchorage turns it over 10 times, finishes the game with 37 rebounds and 14 assists. For the Saints, 3 players in double figures. Alex Schumacher leads the way, 18 points, 8 of 8 at the free throw line, 4 for 13 from the floor. Also winds up with 4 boards on the night. Jaden Nielsen-Skinner, 17 points, 6 of 8 shooting from the floor, including 4 of 5 from deep. The only other Saints player in double figures, Brett Reed. He finishes the night with 10 points and a team-high 7 rebounds. Tyke Thompson finishes with 6.7 boards of his own, 7 points as well for Kyle Greeley on 3 of 11 shooting. The Saints shoot 39% from the field, 36% from 3, 80% at the free throw line. Again, just 7 turnovers in this game for the Saints. It's when you take that good a care of the ball, you expect to come out on the winning end, but they just weren't able to translate taking care of the ball into a victory here tonight.
Yeah, they just, you know, credit a lot to Alaska Anchorage. They got down the floor, you know, quickly. They set up their defense well, you know, and the Saints weren't able to kind of get into that flow. And so, you know, for St. Martin's, I think you kind of, you know, you're not hitting the panic button by any means. It's one game, you know, to start the year. There's 20 games in the GNAC season, so or 18 games, I should say. And you know, for St. Martin's, I think it's a pretty simple answer. I think it's just stay to your style of basketball. We know this team can score the ball. You know, you didn't turn over the ball. You didn't really shoot yourself in the foot here tonight. It was more Alaska Anchorage just was the better team. And I think if you're St. Martin's, you just, you know, head down, you look at the film, you learn from it. This is a veteran team. They'll be ready to go on Saturday night.
Short turnaround for both Saints programs. Women tip things off at 3 p.m. on Saturday afternoon, and the men's game follows
at about 5:15, right in that range, thereabouts. Those teams will both be facing Alaska on Saturday afternoon. That's just about going to do it for us here tonight. Once again, your final score, Alaska Anchorage defeats St. Martin's 76-67 in the GNAC opener for both teams. For Austin Burns and the entire St. Martin's Athletic Department, this is Jeff Lucero signing off. We will see you right back here on the St. Martin's Digital Network on Saturday afternoon at 3 and 5:15 p.m. Good night.